All right. Good morning, Trade Pros. Welcome to morning market update for this beautiful Monday, May 18th of 2020. This is George from Trade Pro Academy. Hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. And we're starting out the week on a very bullish note here in the stock market. I'll tell you a few reasons driving the news, and maybe we'll head on over and have a look at one level that I think will be a transition for the day. All right, first, let's start out by going back to yesterday because it's Monday and we had a really important event on Sunday. Jerome Powell last night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time spoke on CBS, their 60-minute segment. All right, and he said a whole bunch of stuff that's very important from a Federal Reserve chair. The one thing he said is the Fed hasn't run out of ammunition by a long shot. All right, saying we still got bullets. Okay, we're not out. Everyone's talking about negative interest rate policy, but we got other tools as well, and we haven't run out of ammunition. And he also said the following, which really drove gold higher overnight, and equity markets also. He said there's really no limit to what we could do in lending programs. All right, saying that, QE infinity, basically. In 2009, we had QE1, then 2, 3, 4, the consecutive years. They started to unwind the balance sheet, and then the stock market crashed in 2018, 20%. They went back on, and now the balance sheet's over $6.6 trillion. And they said there's no limit to what they could do in lending programs. And there's a question asked by a great investor, and this isn't my own words, and you guys will know who it's from, but he said, look, if the Fed could create unlimited amounts of money, why are we paying taxes? I thought that was a phenomenal, that's Gundlach, by the way. I remember his name. That's a phenomenal idea and concept. I like it. I'd be down for it. All right. Oil soared 5%, S&P up 1.5% on that news. Okay. He also said the following, and we've been saying this on our market update literally for weeks now. Assuming there is not a second wave of the coronavirus, this is what Jerome Powell said, I think you'll see the economy recover steadily through the second half of this year. Okay, basically saying the low is in if there's no second wave. If there is a second wave, it could get ugly. Okay, but he also had a cautionary note. He said unemployment and GDP could contract further. And I quote, he said, it could easily, end quote, shrink more than 30% on an annualized basis, GDP. All right, remember this though. Listen to his policy information, but do not listen to Jerome Powell for economic forecasts. Fun fact, Jerome Powell is the only sitting Fed chairman who does not have an economics degree. All right, it's an interesting fact. You need to know that. That being said, he's got unprecedented access to information you and I would drool over as traders. And at the same time, he's saying, look, we have unlimited rounds that we could fire here. We're not done yet. If we need, we could respond more. And I think that if there's no second wave, then we recover from here, even though Q2 data will be ugly, but it'll be backward looking. All right. So he's kind of dismissing the next quarterly report while saying, let's look forward to the future. We got this. All right. This morning as well, Global Times chief and editor Hugh He-jin said that China is not afraid of allowing an independent investigation of their COVID-19. They said China's stance is the same, but if investigation finds it originated in the U.S., Trump's election is doomed. All right, that was the tweet. This comes on the back of a lot of tensions between China and the United States more recently. And overnight, we found out that the deal is in his jeopardy. Donald Trump said that his taste has been ruined a little bit of it, but he hasn't scrapped it either. And so there's a slight de-escalation here, but watch out. I think this week, this is what's going to drive the news. In other events, at 7:35 a.m., why did the market just blow a top like that and keep going pre-market? Market's not even open yet. S&P 500 put in a overnight high at 2933.75, annihilating resistance before and up almost 100 points off of the close on Friday session. Why do we go up so much? All right, look, what is the one thing that would restore your confidence completely in this whole coronavirus situation? Think about it for a second. What is the one thing that would restore your confidence and make you say, all right, I'm going to go back out and do things the way I did before, all right? Ignoring any economic impact to your spending power, obviously, but which is a big ignoring thing. It's a big thing to ignore. However, I just want to make a point. All right, the one thing that would really give you a lot of safety is a vaccine. And at 7:35 in the morning, company Moderna, symbol mRNA, okay, announces positive interim phase 1 data for their vaccine against COVID-19. All right, they said, however, 3 patients on the highest doses had very severe but non-life-threatening side effects. Okay, and that's the situation. Any hope, any news of any vaccine hitting the market is going to be factored into the S&P 500 very quickly. Remember, market assimilates rumor and sells news. So buy the rumor, sell the news has been and always will work, because that's how investor psychology works. I don't want to get too far into that. All right, but their shares, mRNA shares, traded 30% higher in the pre-market. They're not. This isn't coming to market. You can't get this vaccine tomorrow. They said there's a long road ahead, but they do have evidence that they slowed or stopped the growth of coronavirus in a lot of trial patients. That's exciting. All right. In addition to that, driving the excitement to start the week is reopenings across the world. All right. The return to normal is continuing. We're not there yet, but it is continuing. China, the country that got hit the hardest and first by the coronavirus, is seeing increased dining and traffic jams in Beijing. You guys know what it's like. There's really miles and miles of highway, more than that, dozens of miles that are back to back, all right, of traffic. Traffic is resuming. And I'm willing to bet those people are loving sitting in traffic. They're like, wow, this is great. All right, so here's the celebrating traffic, I guess. Traffic's back in Beijing. Dining out is back as well. All right, postponed annual meeting with China is set to begin on Friday, so the government's starting to reopen again. In Europe, shops in Italy are reopening. All right, in Germany, they're showing a smaller increase of cases. Apple's 25 stores in the U.S. this week. All right, Alex Azar, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services, said this. I find this interesting. He's encouraged that there's not been a jump in cases in states that moved early on reopening, such as Georgia and Florida. Okay, so saying, look, there isn't an increase in cases. However, states like Georgia and Florida, and we have somebody in both those states that we're going to ask very in a few moments, is this: did people really go out? Like, if the doors are open, great, but are people going out in mass numbers? And if they are, and if more people are showing up and they're socially distancing and the virus isn't spreading as much, this is great news. But give it 2 weeks, because this thing's got a pretty long incubation period. So, we're in a very big historic experiment in our lifetime, and we're going to see how this pans out. Maybe there is a second wave. Maybe there isn't. All right. Maybe the summer is going to help kill this virus or slow it down. Maybe it won't. All right. Maybe 3 months from now, S&P is trading below 2,000, and we have a crap ton of new cases, and the outbreak gets the real wave. The first one was just a little blip. All right. There's different hypothetical scenarios, and that's why it's hard to have one opinion. And the opinion that I hold is a short-term one, and always short-term. Right? I don't want to be Nostradamus. I don't want to predict events. I want to read them in real time, focus my attention on becoming a good real-time reader, and implement that into my investment objectives and day trading strategy. All right, that's what it's about. You're either going to predict events in the future, you're either going to Nostradamus route, or you want to make money off it right now, all right, to change your life, your family, and hopefully use the capital to do something positive. I'm choosing the second one, right? I don't want to predict things. Prediction is dangerous and deadly. In Asia, Japan's up 0.5%, Hong Kong's up 0.6%, China's up 0.2%, India's down 3%. So Asian markets, you can see, are mixed, but not really much advancement. In Europe at midday, all major indices are above 2%. London up 2.1%, Paris up 2.2%, Frankfurt up 2.2%. In the U.S., Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ are approaching 2% rallies. All right, crude oil's up 5.1% above $30 a barrel. Currently trading even higher than that, 32.32 at the moment. Open at 31.98, and we're getting a huge bid across the risk complex. So markets like oil, like equities, who are perceived as risk on, are getting bid or bought, meaning that there's a risk on momentum wave at the moment. Okay, interesting report according to Newswires. I didn't get a chance to investigate this a little bit further, but China's oil demand is nearly back to pre-COVID-19 levels. That's going to have to get tested. It's going to have to get fact-checked. All right, I just saw, according to Newswires, I'd have to research that more. But that's an interesting thing, right? Because if you think about it, it makes sense. If businesses are reopening in China, if everyone's going back on the road, if there's traffic jams, you're probably going to have to pump some fuel into your car and start working. All right, so makes sense that there's an increase in demand. I don't know it's near pre-COVID-19 levels, though. But that's what's printed in the news. All right, gold's up 1% on the back of comments from Jerome Powell. Okay, him saying we have an unlimited amount of printing ink. Basically said, I got the printing press and I'll crank it out unlimited amount of times, make it rain on the economy. Woo! Right? But that's going to debase the dollar. That's going to devalue the dollar. And that has huge upside pressure on gold. Gold went up to as high as, what was the high? I think I saw 70 something. 1775.80 is the price it bid up to, just shy of 7 a.m. here in the morning Eastern time. Now it's below the Friday close, so it's given up all those gains. All right, equity markets keep pushing up. Careful today. I think our morning sentiment is fade the early open. Be very careful fading. You're going against the grain, meaning sell this rally, ride it down to support, and when you catch support, get on board. Don't fight this thing. Okay, you're going to have an inclination to not want to buy this because you think you've missed the whole move. All right, but I'll tell you this, it could always go in the trend direction one more time and screw you before it does what you thought it was going to do. Be careful fighting the trend. There's a lot of money on the sidelines that would want to resume in this market if the sentiment continues. That money is waiting below in limit orders. So I'm not saying buy it here. I'm saying in the early morning, there could be an opportunity for a fade or a pullback to support structure where you could jump online and pretty much get on the train, the bull train. You got to ride the momentum. Don't trade your bias or your opinion. Trade what you're seeing. Trade the real time. Right? That's how you get profitable in this industry. I love you guys. Be safe. Hope you had a great weekend. All right, as things reopen, get out there and take precautionary measures. You don't have to wear masks. I haven't been wearing a mask, knock on wood. It's worked okay, but I'm not licking people either. Number one, I have a wife. Number two, it's not safe. All right, and just wash your hands. All right, I got some sanitizer. I was actually grocery shopping this weekend, and they have them back again. We were able to get the Purell little bottles, and it's great. Wash your hands, sanitize, and don't put your fingers in your mouth. You should be safe. Let's see how this goes. I love you guys. Be safe out there. Be careful. Manage your risk. Trade Pro. We're going to open up the trading room and talk about some of these pullback levels we're talking about just now, but give a little bit more depth to the trade idea. All right, YouTube, take care. Peace out. Be good. I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao. All right, Trade Pros in the room. Let's kick it off with an oil update. All right, guys, take care, YouTube. Ciao. Let's talk about oil, and then we'll switch it back to equities and pan out some levels for both. Oil is really a great market. It has been here, Stephen. Love to hear your update and some news around it. I'm getting ready to do some oil trades again. And equities is quite a bit of opportunity as well. Between the two, we'll have a great day. Boxy, over to you, sir.